There are some sensational details that have come out in the actor Darshan accused in a murder case. Kannada actor Darshan Thoogudeepa, who has been arrested in a murder case, has allegedly asked three other men to take the blame for the crime in exchange of cash. That's what police said today. In fact, the actor who was arrested on Tuesday offered the men 5 lakh rupees each to implicate themselves in the case. NDTV has also accessed the remand copy, which says that he assaulted the victim before he was killed. The body of 33-year-old Renuka Swamy was found in a drain at the Sumanahalli Bridge in Bengaluru. In fact, it was a food delivery agent who had alerted the police about it. Now, what led to this murder? The investigation is going on, but what we know so far is that Renuka Swamy had allegedly sent obscene texts to Darshan's co-star and girlfriend Pavithra Gowda. The online harassment and use of objectionable language are now being probed as potential triggers for this ghastly murder. But there are other changes that have also happened today. The investigating officer probing the murder case was also reportedly changed. Now, the actor here, Darshan, is not new to controversies. He is amongst the well-paid, highest paid actors of Karnataka, and his popularity in the industry seems unparalleled. However, he is no stranger to controversies. His off-screen image took a huge hit in 2011 after he was arrested for assaulting his wife, Lakshmi. But what are the events that led to the alleged murder of Renuka Swamy? What stopped Pavithra or Darshan from actually lodging a complaint with a cyber cell if he was actually threatening them with messages? Is this a case of toxic masculinity? Where does the investigation stand now? Renuka Swamy, who was allegedly beaten to death by Darshan and his associates, was also one of his staunchest fans. Is that something to show that the nature of fandom in India is changing? How is social media influencing personal and public lives of celebrities? That's what we will try and understand tonight. But first, let's take a look at this report by my colleague Radhika.
Sensational revelations have come out in the alleged murder of Renuka Swamy, in which actor Darshan is an accused, along with his partner as well as 11 other people who are his aides as well as his fans. Now, this is the place where Darshan and his aides had taken Renuka Swamy. This is a shed where he was taken inside, allegedly beaten and tortured. He was tied with a rope and beaten with wooden sticks, and then he, in fact, dropped dead, after which he was taken from here and his body was dumped in a drain nearby. So this is what happened on the day of the alleged murder, where from Chitradurga, Renuka Swamy was kidnapped, taken here, allegedly killed, and then his body dumped nearby. Now, of course, post the murder, post the incident, 3 people had confessed to the crime before the police. In fact, they had said that they had killed Renuka Swamy due to financial disputes, post which, of course, police found their version suspicious. And therefore, further interrogation revealed that Darshan was behind the crime. And in fact, Darshan was enraged over Renuka Swamy sending lewd messages to Darshan's partner that angered him, and therefore he conspired to allegedly kill this man. And therefore, he in fact asked these 3 people who are his fans and aides to own up to the murder in return for rupees 5 lakh each to the 3 of them who had in fact confessed to the crime. So multiple revelations coming out. Of course, several CCTV footage being checked, which showed his car in fact leaving this particular place. Another CCTV footage taken days before the incident, which also had Renuka Swamy working in his pharmacy in Chitradurga. It was just a couple of days before the murder, and therefore police at this point looking at all the angles, trying to understand the circumstances leading to the death, the sequence of events. Were there more people involved, and is there any more reason, or rather a stronger motive for him to commit this act? So at this point, of course, CCTV is being examined, phone records being checked, all the financial transactions are also being looked into, and multiple people, including friends and family members of Darshan, his female friends and other aides, are being questioned. Of course, they are being interrogated at this point. 6 days of police custody, post which they will be presented before the court once again.
So some revealing details on the sensational murder there. Joining us now is Chetan Kumar Ahimsa, who is a Kannada actor. We have Priya Chetty Rajagopal, founder of Multiversal Advisory LLP. We have Sanjay Sahai, who is the former ADGP Karnataka and cyber expert, and also Saloni Sharma, who is a member of the SRK universe. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. To you first, Mr. Chetan Kumar, here is a fellow actor who is now accused of murdering somebody, a fan actually, and he's also seen as the most challenging star. That seems to be something that people seem to be calling him. He's called Dasa Darshan or D-Boss. So clearly this is an actor, with clearly, an exalted image of himself, and he's also very popular. How do you see this case, especially when you see the controversies that surround his life, be the domestic violence case, or the boycott by Kannada media, or even for that matter, the violation of Wildlife Protection Act, and now this murder case. So how do you see something like this happening to Darshan, who clearly enjoys an exalted sense of popularity as well?
Darshan is a very big film star in Karnataka. But over the past 10 to 15 years, he has had consistent run-ins with the law. And ever since 2011, he's even gone to jail. And consistently, he has been beating up people either on the set, in a hotel, sending dogs, various issues. But this issue, this murder accusation, is by far the most grave and the most serious allegations against Darshan. And I see this as threefold if I look at it. Threefold being, number one, toxic masculinity and this manifestation. Number two, in terms of violence and how violence blurs the lines between real cinema fictional and real life. And number three, this exaltation of star culture, which is detrimental to an equalitarian society that we fight for. Number one, toxic masculinity, the fight for the honor of a woman, which instead of, if there were lewd photographs, you could go to the cyber committee. If Darshan mentioned anybody in Chitradurga in the authorities, they would have taken it up seriously. But instead of going by the rule of law, they want this vigilante violence. He wants to show how much he could rescue the honor of his partner or his woman through this kind of violence. And whether it was intentional to murder or intentional to just beat up will come out soon. But this led to this toxic masculinity, which has been seen in many issues, such as Neha Hiremat's issues, Anjali, Ruxana, and even the pen drive issue, which Karnataka is unfortunately known for. And this is toxic masculinity manifesting in many ways. We need action against that in society too. Number two, in terms of the kind of culture, cinema makes money off of violence. There's big time Kannada films that have made money off of violence. When you're a spectator, you also, when I went to jail, there were people in jail who were saying, I went to jail because I watched your movies and then I committed a crime. So that affects the people. It affects the actor too. And the third is this exaltation of star culture, where there's an apotheosis of these film stars who are put on a pedestal undeservingly. Their contribution to the success of a cinema itself is very minimal, let alone their contribution to a good society. So star culture must be eroded and dismantled. And these are all affecting, even there might be psychological issues that have seriously affected Darshan in this kind of thing.
But that's a very important point, because clearly there are limits to the kind of admiration that you have for a celebrity, and the South of India has always known to sort of have larger than life actors. Now, let me ask this question to Priya Chetty. Ma'am, how do you see us as a prominent citizen of Karnataka? How do you see something like this? Because, we've seen in the 90s the kidnapping of actor Rajkumar. I come from the South of India. We've seen Rajnikant. We've seen, Shivaji Ganeshan. We've seen NTR. And Darshan also had, a very popular image about himself. But clearly, like Mr. Ahimsa also pointed out, there are run-ins with law that he has had. And this, whatever he seems to have done, or allegedly what he has done, seems to be just showcasing that I don't care attitude and I would get away come what may attitude. As a prominent citizen of Karnataka, how is the society looking at something like this?
First, thank you for having me on the show. And it's really horrific to see the kind of damage that is being done. It is also, truth being stranger than fiction is something that's coming out in this particular discussion, because it really seems almost too amazing to believe that something like this would be attempted by a person of that stature and somebody who has that kind of influence. Having said that, the crime is quite horrific. If we had read about it for any, in quotes, normal citizen, we would have been still quite, taken aback, would want justice to be done. So there are three layers to this. One is a crime is a crime is a crime and must be taken and dealt with and actioned and taken to task exactly like it would for any other person. The second element is that as a person of such influence and such a large fan following, there is a large amount of self-belief that actually seeps into certain kinds of celebrities, that they are above anything which is, what is meant for normal people. And that, I think, is a big fear. I mean, you look what happened to, if you look at Salman Khan, or if you look at anyone else, I mean, these are things that you understand what fandom can do and twist the minds of people who are actors or celebrities.
Right.
And the third thing, that as a message that goes out, I think just like has been done in the Prajwal case, there has to be an absolutely clear system of law that is applied. And I think as details are coming out, it's very clear that this is a premeditated, while it's a crime of anger, it's a premeditated, very clearly planned out crime and very detailedly done. And such arrogance to assume that it would, somebody would be able to get away with it. Having said all these things, it is so important for fans to understand that the persons that they respect and admire so much, and all of us have people like that in our lives that we really look up to, are also fallible human beings, and you can appreciate their art without appreciating their, who they are in their real lives. What is worrying me now is the fact that many people are saying that, regardless of what he's done, we will defend him and so on and so forth. Right. So that's a concern.
Now that's very important. Let me ask this question to Saloni. I'll come back to you, Priya. Saloni, how do you see Priya's this very important point that while it is essential that fans also feel that they are part of an actor's life, in terms of admiration, in terms of really praising their art form or just being fans, but many fans also end up maybe thinking that they are actually a part of their lives and they can actually take decisions for them. They can reprimand them for personal decisions that they take. And in some ways, social media also plays a role in this, because if you look at this case, it is Ms. Pavithra who posted something with, her picture with, of course, Darshan, and then his wife responded to that. And then this deceased person, the victim, started sending messages, derogatory messages to Pavithra. So clearly, social media has a role to play, but this is also, there is a problem with the thinking that certain fans have that they actually can be a part of the lives of their heroes and celebrities, isn't it?
Yeah, so not commenting on that, but talking about fans' life and how much they relate themselves with the star, the icon they follow. Yes, you said it right. When they follow the icon, they feel they are part of it and they completely follow them, blindly follow them, and they feel bad if something bad happens. They feel good if something good happens. And whenever there are some followers or believers which will go as you said, on social media, they'll just start trolling or just taking out negative trends or something like that in trashing, and they'll also start trolling to the ones who are their stars are against. So they'll just completely put them into bad lights and do this. But talking about, as being a member of SRK universe, talking about this, we are a group of n number of people and we are globally connected. And as our star Shah Rukh Khan is, he's a big icon. He's pride of India, and we follow him blindly. So following him blindly means doesn't mean that with wrong views will stand up or something. But as he says and as he teaches, he has one mantra, that my fights are my fights and my doings are my doings. You are completely there with entertainment part. So you fans never. He always says to fans, never get into trolling, never put anyone down, be it about other stars only, like there are Khan wars or other wars. So he completely requests his fans that don't ever get into that negative side. And then there are fans who also, if something bad happens, they'll harm themselves or they'll harm someone else. So he completely stands up against such violences, and to his fans as well as the ones who are trolling him or who is bad shaming him or talking about them, to them also he requests them politely that be you are a fan of any star or anyone, and you support anyone.
There's a
but
certain
this isn't
responsibility that
correct.
actors and public personalities have, which is a very important point. Let me go across to Mr. Sahai. So you have been a former cop and you've handled so many cases like this. Tell us, how do you see the investigation in this case proceeding? Because as a reporter, I feel incremental details are coming out every day and most of them seem very interesting. And this is a person who has been in controversies in the past, but he also enjoys popularity. I was reading up on some of his movies, watching, some of the clips. He plays this mass leader. His father was famous for negative roles. He comes from a certain family which is known to understand films. So clearly he has legacy and of course family on his side, but he's not new to controversy. So how does the police handle cases like this? Because he also has influence. He seems to have used that.
So we will come to the investigation part of it, but primarily a celebrity who is not able to handle his celebrity status between real life hypnotism and social media echo chamber and creating a very bizarre cocktail which most of these celebrities don't know how to handle. So that's point number one. The second point is that having landed in such sort of a situation, how does the law and order mechanism and the ecosystem interact and react to it? So one is inside the film industry, his intemperate behavior is known. From 2011 till 2024, whatever is available in the public domain, at least around 5 cases are very neatly cut out and placed before us. But that has been ignored, and when lots of other co-stars are talking about him, they talk about his very good behavior.
Right.
So certainly there is some duplicity involved somewhere or the other.
Right.
Now this dark side of fan culture, which we talk south of the Vindhyas, where it is very iconic and we worship them like gods, we make temples, literally we do anything and everything which is unimaginable in Bollywood, in Hollywood or in any part of the world. That being as it stands, so one particular statement which has really enamored me today, that has come from Ram Gopal Verma. I'm not a very avid follower of film stars and directors and producers and have a very little idea of the film industry. But his thing is worth quoting. A star using one diehard fan to kill another diehard fan who was interfering in his personal life is a fit example of the bizarreness of the star worship syndrome. Right. Fan wanting to order how their stars should run their lives is an unavoidable side effect of the same syndrome.
Let me ask a question to the actor here. Sir, you talked about toxic masculinity, which I really like because that I think is very essential to understand here. Sometimes as an actor, do you feel that the roles that you play, the roles that you portray on the big screen or even for that matter, small screen, does that also put a lot of pressure on you? Because, I was looking at the roles that Mr. Darshan has played all these years, even in Katera, and there is a certain sense of playing roles which make him the savior of people, but also give him a lot of importance that I can get away with anything that I do. Is that something that you face? And also this social media scrutiny, because all of this seems to have really happened because there were pictures that were put up, which there's nothing wrong in that, but clearly is there a certain amount, are there any boundaries that actors and celebrities need to have for themselves so that not really, for their own safety?
No, you bring up a very good point, because when you play certain roles, those roles, without you even realizing it, psychologically also affects you. See, I've played certain roles that have been extremely good, kind-hearted, compassionate roles, which have made me a better person. If Darshan is playing roles that do toxic masculinity, beat up hundreds of people, cover up their murders, and do vigilante violence, that will affect him in different ways psychologically, or he feels he could get away with that in real life too. There is a blurring of lines between fiction and reality. And the idea that star culture, like everybody spoke about, star culture is very problematic because to me, I hold that film stars are undeserving of even having a fan following because their contributions are so little. So in that way, this exalted status creates its own problems. It goes to the head, and this inability to handle stardom. And the problem is the film industry, in Kannada film industry, for example, has been essentially mum on this issue. Nobody's taking a stand. Everybody either knows Darshan or in some way says or accepts this reality or is afraid to talk or doesn't have the concern or doesn't have the insight to talk. So no one is actually taking a stand, except the media is doing a very good job, but the film industry is essentially mum. If you cannot self-correct and introspect, there is no way to build a better film industry, to make the right necessary impact on society, and to correct the wrongs that someone like Darshan is allegedly has done, and the black market has created on the film industry and Karnataka society as a whole.
Right. Priya, also tell us, there was a lot of thing about objectification of women, because, I fail to understand when Pavithra and Darshan were facing these messages, we were getting these messages, they did not think that it was actually right to go to the police. Maybe is there a sense of, lack of belief in our authorities, because online harassment is something that women face across the country. But the fact that they could think, allegedly, that murdering a person is probably better than, going and lodging a complaint. How do you see that?
A bit extreme, don't you think? I want to get rid of my problems. So one of the things that I can do is just beat somebody to death. So definitely a bit extreme. But it also is a sort of an indication of how fictional and how, far away and unreal sometimes a celebrity life can be, because you live inside a bubble where everything is right and everybody's sort of cheering you on or thinking that, there's gold coming out of your mouth or whatever. So there is a sense of unreality, of dislocation with reality that makes you probably do things like this. And what needs to be done to balance it out is have very stringent laws. If you look at any cases, right now, the Trump case, the fact that he was found guilty of 34 of the crimes shows also it doesn't matter who you are, that the crime, if you've done the crime, you have to do the time.